Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. If you're looking for jewelry that makes an impact on your self-care routine and your style, Empowerography would love to offer you a discount code to one of our exclusive partners, Quartz and Canary Jewelry and Wellness Company. Please use code EMPOWER15 to receive 15% off upon checkout at www.quartzandcanary.com. Quartz and Canary is truly the place where spirituality meets style. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Antonella Cellini. She is the owner and founder of Artsy Baker. How are you doing today, Antonella?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today and share a bit about your story and your journey as an entrepreneur. I appreciate you taking the time, and I appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Antonella, as I said, you're the owner and founder of Artsy Baker. How long has Artsy Baker been in business?
Officially since 2011. However, I did start years before in my home, just as a pastime.
Okay. What was the inspiration behind creating and founding Artsy Baker? Where did that inspiration come from?
Oh, that's a funny one, actually. Growing up, I grew up in a European family, and all I ever wanted was a chocolate cake and a birthday party. And my kids just said absolutely no to chocolate. And they said, I see my friends at school, so there's no need for a party. But when they did get together, it would only have to be with, relatives of their age. And if they did have a cake, it was a Black Forest cake. And so I've never, ever had a Black Forest. I've never tried it, nor do I care to make it. That's the only cake we don't make at our bakery.
Really?
So traumatized by it, yeah. So anyways, every year, all I ever wanted was a chocolate cake and a birthday party, and I got neither. So I swore years ago that when I had my own kids, they would be getting all kinds of parties and any cake they wanted. So that's how it all started, just being deprived.
Wow. Anti-Black Forest cake. I love it. That was one of my grandmother's, one of her favorite cakes, actually, Black Forest cake. She loved it.
And I'm pretty sure it's delicious, but I will never try it. It's just so traumatizing.
I don't blame you. I mean, being a cake artist is definitely an acquired skill set. So how did you end up becoming a cake artist? Like, how did that evolve into what it is today?
This kind of came up by accident, actually. I've always loved dessert. I've always loved art. My parents used to hide paint cans that were lying around the house because they would leave and the wall would be white and they'd come back and it's purple and I would have matches on walls. So I've always had a passion for art and a love for dessert. And I just one day I created a cake for my niece's birthday. And it was a 3D roller skate cake and everybody oohed and awed. And I just couldn't understand what the big fascination was. I thought it was so simple and everybody can do it. And from there, I loved what I did. I loved using art as a medium. I loved using cake as my art medium. And from there, just kind of kept making cakes, made cakes for about a year or two before I actually started it as a legitimate business.
Wow. I mean, that's got to be pretty hard, though, to create art out of food. I can't imagine it's easy at all.
I love it. It's something, I love doing multiple things at once. So the fact that I could do art and I can use food to do that, and then it gets eaten instead of just hung up on a wall or thrown away. It's just like this weird satisfaction for me. I don't know, I guess.
Do you have any formal training in cake artistry? Like, did you take any courses or did you just teach yourself?
I am completely self-taught.
Wow.
For years, I was so embarrassed to tell people. I didn't think people would actually take me serious. So when people would ask me that question, I would just totally divert it. I am completely self-taught. I kind of just, like I said, had a passion for art, love for food, and combine the two. And I did it for so long. And I, starting off, I was actually doing this with my kids, kind of sitting on the counter or breastfeeding, sort of not breastfeeding and making cakes at the same time. Please, I should let everybody know
let's clarify that.
But, I was being a mom, and my husband was the only person working at the time, and we didn't have a lot of money. So, I just had to get creative, and I would use any tool that I could find. And I would find like a fork, a spoon, a knife, a skewer, a toothpick. And it was amazing what I can actually do with these tools. And it was actually fascinating because it would boggle my brain as to like what else I can create, but with so few tools in hand.
Was there a lot of wasted food then when you first started out? Like a lot of experiments that end up in the garbage because you weren't happy with how they turned out or you weren't liking the way they were looking?
For the most part, no. However, I do remember one in particular. It was my father's birthday cake. And I remember I wanted to do a deck of cards because he played cards steady. And it just wasn't working out. And I made the first cake, and then I made the second cake. And I was up till 2:00 in the morning, and we were supposed to be there the following morning at about 9. And my husband turns to me, he's like, would you stop it now? He goes, you're driving yourself crazy. I don't know why it's not working out. So I looked on my calendar and I had 2 more cakes. I just put them together, closed my eyes kind of thing. And I went, I'm just going to let my hand do what it's got to do.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, with 2 cakes that were going in the garbage, I was going to go to the local grocery store to pick up a cake. I said, this sucks. I suck. I can't even do it. I can't even make a simple cake for my father. Anyways, totally down on myself. But from there, I ended up tapping into something inside me, and it just kind of let myself go. And from there, I ended up had 2 pieces of cake left, and I turned it into an open book. And I thought, I've never actually told my father how I really felt about him. So I said, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll turn this into an open book, and I will just write how much I love him, how strongly I feel about him, how inspiring he is to me. And that's what I did. And it was probably the most inspirational cake for the entire family, and he was in tears when he saw it.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. What an amazing story. So heartfelt and beautiful. Did you end up ever trying to make a deck of cards again?
I did for other people, and it totally worked. Totally worked first time.
Wow.
Yeah, but there have been a few mishaps. Yeah.
Well, I guess that just wasn't the cake you were supposed to make for your dad. You were supposed to make the book, so it worked out the way it was supposed to, right?
I think so.
Where do you get your inspiration from when creating these incredible works of art that you make?
I just love thinking outside the box. I love to push myself. I love being challenged. I don't like just the ordinary. It's boring for me. So my brain is always looking for a challenge. And I remember distinctively in school, they would say to me, well, make sure you think outside the box. And, when I'd come up with a great idea, what I thought was a great idea, they're like, no, but you have to kind of think outside the box, but within these parameters. And it just drove me crazy. So now it's almost like I love the challenge of being able to kind of let my mind just go. When someone asks for, I don't know, like a particular cake, I just automatically just go to a crazy direction. And it blows my mind sometimes how crazy my own mind thinks.
How much research, if any, goes into when someone comes to you with a design that you've never created before? Because I'm sure you do get customers that come to you, I want this, and you've already done multiple of this before. So how much research, if any, goes into a design when someone comes to you with something you've never done before?
That happens a lot, actually. I don't watch TV. I do not watch movies. If anything,
wow.
I'm watching real estate or documentaries, and I've always been like that. So when someone comes to me and they're asking for a cake that depicts a show or a character, I'm like, okay, here I go. And fingers start typing. And I just instantly try and fall right into what this is all about. And I put them on hold for about a minute, and I just kind of read about it. And I look at the expressions on the characters' faces. I just kind of try and get it from as many angles as possible in such a short amount of time. And then I pick something very interesting about it. Okay. And I normally pick about 2 or 3 ideas, and then I just bring the ideas to the customer. And, so far it's been okay most times.
Have you ever had to say no to someone that's not a design you can achieve?
I'm not I'm not a fan of hunting, and I don't say no to cakes because I tell anybody that we can create anything out of cake. It's whatever they would like. So it's kind of almost hypocritical if I don't take the cake order. However, I do feel like I have to voice my opinion, which is probably not what the customer wants sometimes. But I remember distinctively there was a hunting cake, and they wanted a deer, a 3D deer. It was about 3 feet big. And
holy.
Yeah, they wanted a 3-foot deer, but the husband actually wanted the deer to have like bullet holes in him with blood and all of that. Like, it was so gory, and I love gore. Like, I love, the movie. I don't watch movies, but I watched the movie Saw, and I love it. But I just, hurting an animal like that, it was so unethical. And he said to me, no, you have to put bullet holes, and it's got to have blood, and there's a rifle. And I thought to myself, no, you know what? There's no way that this is even going to turn out. I can't even look at this poor deer.
Yeah.
So I told him I could make him a cake so long as I have full, I can basically.
Creative control.
I have total creative control for what it's going to look like. So there was absolutely no blood. It was a beautiful dough just sitting with some leaves around, just such a pretty thing. I did at the end, which I was kind of contemplating, but I know he really wanted it. I put a bullseye, but I let the wife actually put it on at the home. I didn't actually put it on.
Right,
so, yeah.
right. A 3-foot cake. Holy, how long did that take to make?
Remember now, probably a good 4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
When did you decide that you wanted to turn your love for baking and making cakes into a business? How did that come about?
I remember I started out just like I said, at home as a pastime, and I would bake for anybody and everybody. And my husband would come home and, after a year or two of doing this and hundreds of cakes later, say, hey, okay, look, everything I'm making is literally going to pay all your cake ingredients because you need to start charging for it. And I thought, okay, I'm going to get this done, but how do I do this? Because I was just making cakes for friends and family. But then shortly after, I had a phone call and someone asked me for a cake, and I didn't actually know this person, and they weren't a friend of a friend.
Right.
And from there, I thought, okay, well, maybe I am doing something good. So from there, we ended up renovating our kitchen to accommodate, our family with 2 small kids plus working and making cakes. And officially then we actually renovated the basement. It was a full-size kitchen, rolling racks and everything. But when my little one was off to kindergarten, I thought, okay, they're off, so am I. And the first day they went to kindergarten, I opened up my business. I leased out a unit, and we all went out at the same time. Yeah. In 2011.
What is the most exciting part of your job, your business?
By far, the people that I have met. Well, the people that I encounter and work with every single day are by far the most fascinating people. They're so incredibly inspiring. I meet all different types of people from all different parts of the world. We get orders from Israel, Saudi Arabia. We get orders from Costa Rica, not to send cakes over, but they'll order for maybe friends or family that live locally. And it's just fascinating just to know their story. And, the thing with me is I love the cakes, but I love the conversation. I love just learning about people. It's really fascinating. Yeah.
What would you say is the toughest part of your job or your business?
It used to be trying to find balance between work and motherhood. That was a really big one. I still, once in a while struggle with that right now. But right now I'd probably say maintaining the reputation and standard that I've built so many years that I've spent so many years building. Yeah. When I was working on my own, I kind of had full control over every aspect of every order, as an example, because it was just me. I would bake it. I would decorate it. I would deliver it. And then, I was blessed to be able to grow the business and hire staff, which are amazing. But my focus is on so many things now. And that's the only way that I can actually move forward. But I do try my best just to make sure that I'm always looking over every order, because I really, really, really do take this personal. I look at this whole business as though, like, even though I'm providing to customers, I'm also a customer.
Yeah.
So I buy other goods. I might not buy cakes, but I buy other goods. And I really just want to exceed people's expectations all the time. I'm just a people pleaser when it comes to just giving them something really special, especially when they've had, like, they've earned money and they could have chosen to spend it anywhere, but they've chosen us. It's really blessed. It's a blessing.
Well, I mean, this is your name on the business. So, I mean, you have to uphold a certain standard for sure.
Oh, most definitely. And I know a lot of companies are always trying to get new business and, trying to get new clients and making sure that the new clients are satisfied. And with me, I do that, yes, but my focus is more on the existing customers.
Right.
These are customers that I've had since, I was working at home with my kids in 2003, and, they're still, getting cakes and other desserts from me. So for me, I feel so blessed, because I wouldn't be where I am unless, they believed in me the way they did. So for me, my focus is really trying to keep existing customers as happy and content as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an incredibly important part of being an entrepreneur, is providing a certain level of experience and service to your clients, because without them, you'd be nowhere.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people fail to realize that. It's almost like the big phone companies. I remember when I was trying to negotiate a new contract for my phone, and I've been with one particular company since 1996. And I remember them saying, well, if you were coming from another company, we would give you 3 months free, we'd give you a phone, we'd give you this and give you that. And I thought, well, hold on, it's year 2020. Well, this was last year.
Yeah.
I've been with you since 1996. Please don't let me do the math right now.
24 years.
I know. I was just.
I know.
You knew. But I thought to myself, this is crazy. Like, how can I be getting a better rate if I was just jumping from, company to company, as opposed to just satisfying me as a loyal customer? Like, you have screwed me over bill after bill, and I'm still here. And, how about me? And I remember thinking that and going, these guys have it all ass backwards.
They do.
Yeah.
Loyalty doesn't get rewarded. Of course it should. Absolutely it should. If someone's given you their hard-earned money for that many years, and you're willing to give someone else who's just jumped ship from another company a better deal, that makes it is. You're right. It's ass backwards 100%.
Well, because those people will jump ship and go to another company.
That's right.
They're constantly hopping. And something to be said about people that are just loyal. Like you said, loyalty is never really rewarded.
Yeah, for sure. So where did the name come from for the business? How'd you come up with that?
Oh, that's a funny one. Based on the logo, you would probably never believe it. But I met a lady years ago, and she had a local magazine in the area. And I thought, I wonder what it would be like, since I'm making cakes, if I could put an ad in the magazine. So I called her up, and she said, yeah, for sure. Oddly enough, the deadline for the magazine, it's going into print in, I think it was 48 hours. Just send us over all the details. And I went, okay. So she sent me a form to fill up, and she put name of company. And I went, oh, wow. Oh, shit. Oh, excuse me. So that night, I remember distinctly lying in bed. And I thought, okay, so what can I actually name myself? So I wrote, okay, Baker, Mrs. Baker. I thought, well, everybody believes in old grandma, right? So I picture this lady in like this hairnet, this like plump little lady delivering a little pie that's still steaming from the oven. And I thought, okay, Mrs. Baker. I went, hold on a second. So as I was just looking, I came across a cartoon character, and I think she was holding a bag. And I went, wow, she looks pretty sassy. And I thought, oh my God, there it is. I go, I'm Artsy. We can call her Artsy Baker. So even if she's a grandma, she's still Mrs. Artsy. But then when I saw this logo, I thought, hold on a second. I saw a picture. I thought, why not make that my logo? And it was a sassy young girl holding a designer bag. And I thought, well, I make designer bags out of cake all the time. So that's what I did. And I decided to call it Artsy Baker, but it wasn't like a 90-year-old grandma. It was actually a sassy young girl. And that's how it all came about.
Very cool. Did you get the ad in time and get it up in the magazine?
I got the ad in time. Yeah, that was actually interesting. Yeah.
Good. So, Antonella, you actually ended up creating your very own brand of fondant, fabulous fondant, that's sold in grocery store chains across Canada. Can you talk a bit about that experience and how it all came to be?
Yeah, of course. While I was working in my basement making cakes, I was making quite a few cakes, and I noticed that some of the products that I was using at the time were just they weren't up to par, or they weren't up to my standards. And I just remember saying to myself, geez, there's got to be a better product out there. And I couldn't find it, so I figured I would create my own. So, as I was working, I created a brand of fondant called Fabulous Fondant. And it really was amazing. It's just a really great product to work with. And I loved it so much that I would be a mom during the day, make my cakes at night. When my kids would nap, I remember just calling all these grocery stores. I would dial any extension, just hoping somebody would answer. Mm-hmm. And I remember speaking to someone at Metro, and they agreed to have me in for a little meeting. So I brought my little rolling pin and fondant, and he gave me an opportunity. He said, hey, you came in here with your little rolling pin. He goes, you blew my mind. It's a great product, probably a little too early for its time in grocery stores.
Wow.
But he goes, yeah, you can go ahead and supply all of Metro. He goes, are you capable? And I looked at him and I said,
shit,
absolutely.
Right then and there?
Right there and there. Yeah, right there and then. And then he goes, can you supply all of Metro? And I said, yeah, of course. And I thought, oh, shit. Why did you say that? You're working out of a little mixer. You don't even know what it's like. And then I thought to myself, say yes, figure it out later. Say yes, figure it out later. And that's what I did. And from Metro, we ended up, we were actually the first to be in grocery stores across Canada. So from Metro, it ended up going into Longo's for all the subsidiaries of Loblaws,
wow,
No Frills, Superstore, all across Canada.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so that was pretty interesting. It was fascinating to know what a few persistent phone calls can do.
There you go. It just shows that persistence definitely pays off.
Yeah, or it makes people really nervous.
Is fondant that easy to make? Do most cake makers that you know of make their own fondant, or do they buy it?
From my understanding, a lot of people will buy it. There are different recipes which people can make at home. They're actually quite easy, and I would highly recommend doing that even with your kids at home if you need something to do. But most people will buy it, especially if you're making a large quantity of cakes. Sit and make it takes a lot of time, of course. Yeah, but I think it's a personal choice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You've also dabbled in producing reality TV for Rogers TV. You produced a show called the Artsy Baker Show. How did that opportunity come about, and how was the experience for you?
I love that. That was probably one of my favorite things. People have always asked me how long it took to make a cake. Have I ever made a cake fall? And I thought, well, maybe I figured I'd give people just a little, look at what it's actually like making a cake, from the whole design concept to prepping, decorating. And by far the hardest part would be delivering a cake. So we did that, and we were the first reality show for Rogers. And we did one episode with Prince Andrew, who was coming here to deliver a guidon, which is a flag for Queen's York Rangers in Aurora. Mm-hmm. And it was just, I wasn't sure how people would react, but it was like an honest look at what it's like. Because a lot of people think that this whole cake life is fascinating and it takes about 4.5 minutes to create this big sculpture, but there's so much prep work. And it's quite grueling. And by far, like I said, the delivery is probably the most difficult part.
So was that just a one-off thing then?
We did 6 episodes, and we were asked to renew for another 6 episodes. But at that time, Rogers had come to us and said, well, if you've got we'd be happy to get you another 6 episodes, but we'd have to change the name from the Artsy Baker to some other name that's not affiliated with your brand. Because apparently there was a local restaurant. They had named one of the shows after a local restaurant. The local restaurant went under, and now they kind of felt like that they had a bad rap. So I went, well, we're not going to go under.
Yeah.
We called the Artsy Baker. And people already know us as this, and I just refused to do that. So, I had to kind of, some people would, agree and some people would disagree, but I really felt like it was important to just continue that on.
No, I would agree with you. I think that's important. That's your company brand. That's your name. That's what you are. That's who you are. Why would you change that?
Yeah.
So in addition to this show, you've made quite a few appearances on TV networks like HGTV, the Food Network, Slice TV, CityLine. What was your very first TV appearance experience like for you, and which show was your first?
I can't remember if it was, well, I've been on House of Brian, HGTV. I think we made an appearance on that. Mm-hmm. But prior to that, I was actually on an invention show. Called Backyard Inventors. And myself and my husband created this cool rain barrel. And that was interesting. That was so fascinating. But my first cake experience was on Rogers daytime television. Okay. So on Thursdays, I would show up with some cake, rolling pins, some fondant, buttercream, and I would work away. And I actually feel like I can kind of tap into my inner quirkiness on camera.
Yeah.
I ended up being a regular guest for Rogers daytime.
Yeah.
And that was really, really fun.
Do you enjoy doing the TV appearances?
I love it. For some strange reason, I'm really shy one-on-one. Mm-hmm. But if you put me in front of a crowd of 5,000 people, this inner beast comes out. And it's the strangest, weirdest thing.
Wow.
And if you put me on camera, all of a sudden I get really quirky and funny and weird. And I don't know.
You turn into a different Antonella.
I think I turn into Antonella because when I'm just one-on-one, I'm kind of so reserved.
Yeah. That's funny. You've also created some masterpiece cakes for some pretty famous names. Do you remember who the first person of influence was that you created one of your cakes for? And how did that all come about? And how did it feel to get contacted to create a cake for someone famous the first time? I remember one time we were contacted by Cirque du Soleil to do the opening show. Cake for the opening show. So that was really, really interesting. And we only had 2 days to create a cake for 2,400 people. Wow. Yeah. So that was even more interesting. There wasn't much time to think about anything at that point. But I think one of the most fascinating, I think it was Trish Stratus, only because I knew Trish, she lives locally, but I have been a huge fan of WWE, of wrestling. And like I said, I don't watch TV, but growing up, since as little as I remember, I was always a super fan of wrestling. And I always wanted to meet Vince McMahon or meet the wrestlers. I always wanted to be a wrestler, actually. Right. So the fact that she contacted me through another customer of ours and asked me to make her son Max's birthday, that was really fascinating. So I actually felt like I was part of the WWE. So that's awesome. Yeah, she's really nice. You had to make a cake for 2,400 people. Yeah, yeah. Wow, I can't even. It was a mix of cake and cupcakes at the time. Wow, that's insane. Yeah. You also have a line of gourmet donuts that you've created. Can you talk a bit about Decked Out Donuts and how that all came to be? Years ago, well, my older son doesn't eat cake. He won't eat cake. He doesn't eat sugar. And I thought, geez, you're not normal, kid. So he would eat one cake, though. It was so strange when customers would see me at a grocery store buying a Duncan Hines lemon cake. They thought I used that for their cakes, but so besides that, he wouldn't eat cake. So I remember for his birthday, he was just determined not to have cake. And I thought, geez, I never got a cake for my birthday. You're going to get a cake. And I was just force feeding this poor kid. And so I knew he liked donuts. Yeah. I remember he tried a donut. So I figured, let me just do a pile of donuts for his birthday, throw some candles on there. And he absolutely loved it. His friends loved it. And then,
before I knew it, all his friends wanted the same thing, and their moms were calling me saying, "Oh, that was a great idea you did for your son. Can you make it for mine? There's no cake cutting and all these crazy benefits." So yeah, that's how the donuts came about.
Oh, okay. We should also mention that Artsy Baker is a nut-free facility, kosher establishment, and have gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free, and vegan options. When did you decide to create these offerings for your clients? And are these options more labor-intensive for you to make?
Yeah, they're definitely, I mean, it's basically starting from scratch with each batch that you make of cake or whatever product. But as a mom, I always felt bad. I remember going to birthday parties and always seeing that one or two kids, their parents were bringing them a little something at the birthday party. You know, they always had this little piece of cake or a little dessert because they couldn't eat what everyone else was eating. And I thought, you know, my whole goal was just to make kids happy and to create an awesome cake for kids. And I thought, well, why not just go a step further and create a cake that most everybody can eat. So I looked at the most common allergens, one of which amongst kids was nuts. Mm-hmm. And I thought, you know, when I moved into my first bakery, I said, well, you know, this place is going to be nut free. And it was insane trying to source product and, you know, so many different things. But I really wanted kids to feel like they were part of something, not just invited and then isolated.
Yeah.
So from there, I started noticing, because we started making cakes and other desserts for the school board. And there were a lot of other allergens that were kind of coming about. So it was like the egg, dairy. A big one was mustard seed, sesame. So it's not air on a dish. That's not what we make. However, now our facility, we accommodate people that have egg allergies, dairy allergies, people that are sensitive to gluten, people that are vegan. So many different variations. And, you know, it's important to accommodate these people.
For sure. How many people do you have working for you at Artsy Baker now? And you have a storefront, I'm assuming, where people can drop in to check out all your baked goodies and purchase them?
Yeah, we have a storefront in Aurora, and we currently have 10 people working for us. They're a mix of decorators and bakers, and they're all amazing, all different age groups. I'm just so blessed to be working alongside people who have such a passion for food and for making other people happy.
Where in Aurora can people go to your place?
We are located at 255 Industrial Parkway South in Aurora. We are open for pickup, of course, under the circumstances. Right now, we're just open for takeout and delivery as well.
There you go, folks. Rush out to Aurora and check out the Artsy Baker. Antonella, what do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
Oh, you know, I really am driven. I'm hungry. I'm constantly driven. I love challenges. I love change. I always want to do more and achieve more, and I'm really, really hard on myself. So being driven, I would say, would be my unique skill set.
Speaking of success, how do you define that word? What does that word mean to you?
I've had this question asked a lot of times, and it's amazing how so many people define success by money. Yeah. It's monetary things. And, you know, I have a family member who has made millions, a self-made millionaire, great human being. Unfortunately, he's passed. One of my biggest idols. And he was my uncle. And it's amazing. And I saw what he did. He built this lavish lifestyle, just an amazing human being, but then was gone and left with, 3 kids and a wife. And I thought to myself, wow, at that point, I remember money helps. Money means a lot, but it's not everything. So I truly define success by, finding purpose. Like we're all here for a reason is my belief. And when you find your purpose and you feel good, for me, doing something that I enjoy by making a positive impact on people's lives is my definition of success.
I would have to agree 100%. What are some of the challenges you faced early on with your business, and how did you overcome them?
Finding adequate staff was always a big thing. Mm-hmm. Just having people believe in my dream was a big thing. I always wanted people to just see what I saw. And At one point I had to realize that that was my dream and it wasn't their dream. And once I was okay with that, it wasn't as much of a burden.
Okay. To date, what would you say is your biggest high or your greatest win?
I'd say being able to run a business while balancing just motherhood, especially when everybody said that it was impossible. I was told that I had to choose which one was most important to me, and they both were important for different reasons.
Right.
The fact that I just kind of went in my own direction and decided to conquer both, that's 100% one of my biggest wins.
Good for you. I'm glad you decided to do that. So many people try to say you can't have it all and you got to choose. That's the most ridiculous thing ever.
Yep.
Where there's a will, there's a way. You can do it. Obviously, you've proven that.
Oh, thank you.
What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
Definitely my kids. I've got two amazing boys. They're 17 and 16. They truly are amazing human beings. I know it sounds so stupid, but I genuinely like them as people. They're relentless. They're confident. They're smart. When I look at them, I'm so proud because I knew that I now realize I had something to do with that. And, one of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten was when they told me that, I inspired them. And I thought, wow, this is pretty crazy because they're constantly inspiring me to do better. So yeah, definitely my kids.
Amazing. I love that. What advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours?
Anything people are interested in pursuing, especially right now, I find amongst people who want to make a change in their life, whether it's COVID, whatever the situation is, just honestly do it. I mean, move, you're not a tree. And I know it sounds harsh. It's not intended to be harsh, but it's better to fail trying than, to never have tried at all. It really is. I mean, through this whole journey, we're going to fail. We're never going to be perfect because there's no such thing as perfection. But, if you're going to fall, you might as well fall forward instead of falling back because it's just going to take you longer to get up and move forward. So, I think it's just really important to just do it. The longer we spend time dreaming about stuff, time is passing. We're not getting any younger. And, life is not waiting for us to make a decision like that.
For sure. I mean, when you failure is all part of the process, is part of learning. And as long as when you fall, you get back up again and try again, then that's it right there. That's the key.
That's what makes you grow.
I think not getting back up is failure.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I think people look at failure as a fall, an end, hit a brick wall, you're done, you're dead. And, failure can do two things. It can make you drive forward and make you more eager to get more, do more, or it can make you sit and sulk and put you in a state that is probably going to be the most negative state you'll ever find yourself in. And especially if you're a female and you have a family, it's really going to impact everybody around you. It's going to impact your children. If you're married, your husband or wife, or it's going to impact friends and family. And it's just really important to believe in yourself and value yourself enough, trust yourself enough to just go forward, just keep going. And, you can never tell what's going to happen tomorrow or any second of the day. So just might as well try. And when there's an obstacle, just face it, deal with it and keep moving forward. Just because there's an obstacle doesn't mean you have to fall. I
think the worst thing would be to not try. That's failure is not trying, not even getting out of the starting gate. I mean, you don't want to be 5 years down the road looking back and saying, shit, I should have tried that 5 years ago when I was thinking about it. Now we're 5 years ahead. And not to say that it's too late, but think of how much further ahead you would have been had you started that 5 years previous.
Yes. And I mean, I guess you could relate. I mean, I remember when I was 17 years old, I thought I was 50 years old. I felt like, oh my gosh, I need to know what the hell I need to do.
Yeah.
I'm putting so much pressure on myself.
Yeah.
And, every time we wait and we say, maybe next Monday, whether it's either starting a diet, just anything to better yourself, opening up a business, it doesn't matter what it is. But when you make a decision to do something, I feel it's just better to start it that second. Why are we waiting for a particular time? Why are we waiting for a date?
Yeah.
Just start it, prep it, do whatever it is to get you further. Because in 2 years, 5 years from now, you'll be thankful that you actually did, because now you're 2 to 5 years ahead instead of starting right at the bottom.
There never will be a perfect time. And I hear people say that this isn't the right time. The timing's not right. And there never will be a perfect time. There never will be a right time. So just do it.
Well, exactly. And I hear that a lot about vacation. Mind you, right now I'm really wanting to vacation. Yes. I'm sure a lot of people are. But I've met a few people that have said, oh, vacation. No, I can't go until I have some extra money, until I have some extra time. I have to finish working. Work's really busy. I can't leave. And I've heard it a lot where people ask me, well, you're self-employed. How do you go on vacation? Who's managing? What are you doing? And I thought to myself, like, how can you not? I need this vacation for me to be able to restart, reset. And there's never that right time. You'll never have that perfect amount of money. Or if you do, that's great. But we're always looking for, more money, more time. It's always that perfect everything. And sometimes it's just a matter of really doing it now. It just makes it's so liberating to just be able to make a big decision like that.
You know what? Those are all excuses.
I believe so.
That's all it is.
Oh, yes. And some people have said that I'm a little harsh when it comes to that, but it really is an excuse. If you want it, go do it. And I tell my kids that. And I know it may sound a little harsh, but there's the doers and the dreamers. Yeah. And you can sit there and dream while other people do, and then you can put them down for doing, because they had the balls, excuse my language.
No, you're right.
They had the guts to go ahead and do something. And, so many females, especially that I know, have taken the opportunity to do something that they were so passionate about, and they put so much effort into it. And all of a sudden they get to a particular stature. Yeah. And it's amazing where everybody around them, when they were on a different level, are now looking at them going, oh, look at her. She thinks she's all that.
Yeah.
And, it's so easy to judge and so much harder to actually do.
That's right. No, I think that's great that you instill and push those values on your kids. I think more parents need to do that with their children from a young age, so that they just grow up knowing, and it's just embedded in them that, hey, you know what? If I want something, I got to just do it.
Yeah. And it's so easy to smother our children. Like I'm culprit of that too, but there's something to be said. My goal as a mom, for instance, is, as much as I would love my kids to live with me forever, is to give them wings to fly. Our job as parents is to provide opportunity, is to just give them the necessities of life and just give them opportunity to grow, to learn, to feel. And, hopefully one day they can stand on their own. And that's what I tell them. I'm putting so much work and effort, which I absolutely love, every single day. And just seeing these human beings grow the way they are just makes me so happy. And it also makes me happy knowing that one day when they're raising their own families, I don't have to worry. Yeah. I don't have to worry about them, just being a bunch of jackasses and unemployed losers. Yeah. I don't want to be raising losers. Yeah. I want to be raising confident, strong-minded young men who will eventually pass on these great qualities to their children, because the last thing I want as a parent is to actually work so hard and then all of a sudden show up one day and go, hey kids, look, I've made all this money. Look at this beautiful house. And all of a sudden I've got 2 jackasses running around.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have asked me, why haven't you done more? Why haven't you taken on this opportunity? And I have no trouble saying to them, because my ultimate goal is to be a mom. And if I could be a great mom and I could raise my kids, I could raise healthy, confident children, then I've done my job in this world, and these kids can go off and live. The last thing I want is to go and work my whole life and all of a sudden show up and go, hey kids, remember me? Remember that girl that left a couple of years ago to build a business?
Yeah, that's right. I think that's key to raise happy, healthy kids. And kids who are driven and want to succeed in life. That's so important.
Yeah, I find, they are our future. And I think it's really important for them to be inspired, not by some sort of character on a television show, but why not be inspired by the person that lives in their home?
That's
that
right.
They see every day that truly loves them.
That's right. Well, look, you are a living example that you can have it all. You can have the family. You can have a successful business. It's you're living proof right there. You're the prime example for your kids.
Oh, thank you.
Antonella, what would you say is one of the most important things you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before learning it? And what was your life like after learning it?
This is a big one, actually. I think basically just working hard, just having gratitude, working hard, but just remembering to have fun along the way.
Okay.
That was a big thing because I can engulf myself and totally like drown myself with work.
Yeah.
But just remembering that it's really important to make a life for yourself while you're trying to make a living.
What was your dream job as a child?
I was WWE star, a wrestler, police officer for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be Oprah.
Wow.
I wanted to be Oprah. I'm like, wow, that'd be so cool. I could be standing next to Oprah and I'd be like Oprah. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do a little rapid fire section of questions here now. So just 1, 2, 3 word answer type things, okay?
Yep.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
We're driven.
Money or fame?
Fame for, I don't know. I don't know. It's so half and half.
Okay. Early bird or night owl?
Oh, definitely early bird. I'm eager to get my day started. I need to feel accomplished.
If you were writing your autobiography, what would the title be?
Success is my only option.
I love that. If you could eat only one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Crunchy watermelon.
What is one thing you've always wanted to do in life but never have?
Skydiving. Terrified of heights.
If you came with a warning label, what would yours say?
Relentless.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would that be?
Just keep it real.
What's one thing you want but cannot buy with money?
Just a button to slow down life, just because it's moving way too fast.
Yeah. Entrepreneur life is?
An adventurous lifestyle.
My favorite way to unwind is?
By learning something new, reading.
If you could change one thing about the world, what would you change?
That people would be just a little bit more accepting of one another.
And last one for the rapid fire. If you had a theme song that played every time you walked into a room, what song would that be?
Lose Yourself by Eminem.
Okay. What's the most recent investment you've made in yourself?
Just getting back into yoga, actually, my health.
Okay. What is your personal motto?
You can't control how people treat you. The only thing you can control is how you react. And that's a really big one.
I love that one. That one's great.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is one of your biggest failures or teachable moments? And what did you learn from that, Antonella?
Just expecting of people, I remember one day I was walking through a door, she didn't hold the door for me, and I got so upset. I went, wow, she should be holding the door. And I thought to myself, well, if I wasn't expecting her to hold the door, then I wouldn't have gotten upset. So yeah.
Very wise. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you could step into my shoes, what would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
Do you actually like yourself as a person?
Okay. Do you actually like yourself as a person?
This is so bad, but I love myself.
That's not bad at all. I think that's great.
Oh, I honestly just really like myself.
That's important. Again, this is yet another thing that we need to instill in and teach our kids so that it just becomes part of their DNA, part of who they are, that they just grow up loving themselves. Think of how much better a place the world would be if we taught our children, or if kids were taught from a young age to love themselves.
Yeah, I believe everything starts at home.
Yeah.
And I really feel once a child, we were all children at one point,
Yeah.
and that children will be our age at, at a later date. But I believe that when a child is filled with love, it's just spoiled rotten with love.
Yeah.
I feel that it does something to them. It creates just a super being, and it creates just an empathetic, sympathetic, strong-minded, confident individual who will actually move forward and do good things in the world. And I think if most people just focused on loving their child and giving that child what that child needs, not what their next neighbor's child needs, focusing on what the needs of that particular child is, I feel like we'd be growing a really strong society, and the next generation would just flourish.
I agree 100%. That's exactly what's needed. The world would be so much better off if we all took part in and did that for our children. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
It's something that I say to myself all the time. It's the only thing stopping you is you. Fear can only do two things. Everyone's scared, but fear can either make you move forward or make you move back. Fear moves you. You just have to decide in the direction you're going to go.
But that mindset piece is very hard to adapt and put into practice. It's not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not. But, like anything, it needs practice. I mean, you've got a garden. If you love your flowers today and hate them tomorrow, today you water them, tomorrow you just leave them. But, if you just constantly keep an open mind, just love yourself enough every day, do things, be kind to yourselves. Like, so many women are not kind to themselves. It's so easy for us to say, oh, look, we're fat. Oh, look at my nose. Look at this. And how about, look at my nose. It gives me character. Wow, I'm a little plump, but man, I look great. How about just being kinder to ourselves, feeding our body? It's amazing. The other day I heard someone saying, someone will go through a fast food drive-through and never ask what the ingredients are. However, you give them like this new flaxseed bread or something,
yeah.
And they're like all over the ingredients, and they're questioning everything in there. I'm thinking, what a stupid thing. But how about just being kinder to ourselves? How about just treating ourselves with respect? Because so many of us are so like engaged in how we're so worried about how we treat other people, mm-hmm. and making sure other people look at us a certain way. But how about how we look at ourselves? And I don't think a lot of women actually stop and do that, because as females, we're normally giving to either husbands or friends or parents or children or work. And we forget about ourselves through all of this. And sometimes when there's that little bit left, and I know we've all gone through this, I've gone through this multiple times, I almost feel guilty taking it for myself. Mm-hmm. But just loving ourselves, I think that is just enjoying and appreciating yourself as a being.
I would agree. We all need to, everything, absolutely everything starts with self, and then it just emanates outward. Yep. It's not an easy thing to do, but I think it's a necessary thing to do in order to have a healthy, happy life.
Yeah, it all starts with that, for sure.
Lastly, Antonella, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like?
That's a good one. So I feel both blessed and honored to have found my purpose in life. My children have taught me so much more than I will ever in my lifetime be able to teach them. I have spent my entire life on a mission to build an empire. And now I hope I've been able to leave a legacy. Just remember to live, laugh, and love.
I love it. Beautiful. Antonella, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today and share your story and your journey. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, and such an inspiration just listening to your story and your thought process and how you see the world. And it's just, you are a true inspiration.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
It's honestly, it's been my pleasure. The honor and pleasure has been mine. And I so appreciate you. And thank you so much for being part of the Empowerography community and being here and sharing your story.
Oh, I'm honored to be part of this. This is such a great thing that you're doing, especially if I can turn it a bit, and you're a male and representing females and empowering females, that's pretty big of you. And kudos to you. We need more people like this.
Thank you, Antonella. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest has been Antonella Cellini. She is the owner and founder of Artsy Baker. Thank you so much, Antonella. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.